Welcome to another fascinating episode of IoT and Beyond, the podcast. We'll be turning this series of podcasts into a book later in 2024, so stay tuned. I'm your host, Ed Hightower, and today we've got a real treat. Joining us is the man who has made waves in engineering and product development world, Mike Wilkinson. Mike is an Eagle Scout at 13, an avid competitive sailor, but more importantly, he's the visionary leader and founder of Paragon Innovation, one of the fastest growing engineering firms in Texas. Paragon Innovation was acquired in 2021 by TTI, a Berkshire company. And Mike, glad to have you on board. How's sailing been lately?
Pretty good. I just got back from 20 days in the Caribbean, sailing the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, and racing, and can't wait to get back.
Oh, wow. Nice. I love that.
My boat
background
right there in the background.
Yeah, that's awesome. Which boat is that one?
That's a Paroma. So it's a Solana 44.
Wow. And that's one of three you got, right?
Yeah, I have two. I have a 36-foot Hunter called Hiding Out, which is what I do up here in the lake when I want to just hide away, get out and away and spend some time. And then I have a smaller 25-foot boat named Paragon. By the way, the boat was named before the company. And that boat I do area races.
Awesome. You're a serious sailor for sure. Hey, so with Paragon and Innovation, give us a short overview and some idea of this value proposition. What does it do?
So we're a product development company. We are a group of engineers, primarily electrical, software / firmware, and mechanical engineers, and we design products for other companies on an outsourced basis. So our customers are everything from the 3Ms and Walmarts and Motorola's of the world, Medtronic, you name it, as well as a bunch of smaller startup companies. And they come to us with their product idea, our next generation product idea, and then we design that. We do all the engineering work. We build the prototypes. We get them set up in manufacturing, and in some cases, we do the manufacturing for them. Now, when I say we do the manufacturing, we still outsource the manufacturing, but we would control all the flow of that. So it's a turnkey deal for them. And then our big push, we'll talk about later, probably is documentation.
Yeah, I want to get to that later on because I'm very impressed with what you guys do. So did you start the company by yourself, or did you have partners or a partner or what?
So my wife and I started it in 1990. And then in 1993, we added Mike Willie as a partner in the company. And that's been our ownership since.
Mike Willie, okay. Awesome. And he's still with you guys, right?
He is.
Oh, awesome. What inspired you to become an engineer and an entrepreneur? Did your dad and Boy Scouts have anything to do with that?
Well, on the engineer side, yes. My father was in electronics business at Collins Radio, working for Arthur Collins, and then all the way through Rockwell, Boeing, acquisitions over many, many years, and then retired there after 33 years of service. And so I got my interest in electronics from him at an early age. And then didn't really get into computers until 7th grade. When my math teacher took a liking to the electronics that I was building to convert from binary to hexadecimal and stuff with a little display and things that I did from discrete electronics. And she introduced me to the math teacher, 8th grade. That was Mrs. Horton, and she's the one who got me into programming. And she taught me Fortran just on paper because we had no computers in the school.
Wow, that's right.
Or anything. By the end of that first year, that 7th grade year, she put me in a programming contest at SMU, and I got first place. And that was first time I'd used a real computer, first time I'd done a key punch machine, and kicked all those Plano and Highland Park kids' butt. And so I was really excited about that. So I really got the interest of both. Boy Scouts was great because it gives you an interest in all kinds of things. So whether it's soil and water conservation, forestry, boating, whatever, electronics. And so you get a smattering, but I always wanted to be electrical engineer. Then with the computer stuff thrown there, I kind of wanted to do both. By the time I actually got to college, there was no such thing as computer engineering. You had to go the hardware way or the software way, and there was nothing in between. And I'll talk about that more about why that's important and how Paragon came to be.
Yeah, you kind of bridged the gap, don't you?
I did.
Yeah, in a little while. So where did you go to school?
I went to the university, which is Texas A&M.
Yes. Awesome. When did you graduate?
I graduated in 86.
86. Wow. Well, just shortly thereafter, did you take some courses to teach you about how to become an entrepreneur?
No, that's the fascinating thing. We had none of that coursework back then. No entrepreneurial stuff on campus whatsoever. Unlike today, which I'm extraordinarily involved in, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship and everything about that. Ever since 2006, I've been just immersed down there, which we'll talk about too. But no, it was no entrepreneur classes. My entrepreneurism came from my first employer, Dr. Miller, which was a veterinarian, and I used to clean up kennels. As my first job, and I kept saying I did computer stuff, want to do that. And he goes, "We want to start a business," and I thought, "Yeah, I got to wait till I go to college and graduate." He goes, "No, we could go get you some business cards at Yale Print Shop on Royal Lane, I think it was." And so we got some business cards that said the software house, and I started doing consulting, if you want to call it that. I hate that word sometimes, but programming work for people who had an Apple II computer and they want to run their business or something. And then I did stuff for the school district, and one thing that led to another, and I paid my way through college doing that work. And so it was really Dr. Miller that got me interested in that. It's also his damn fault that I'm into sailing. So
well, that's good. Awesome. So what was the initial big vision for Paragon, and how has that evolved over the years? How are you changing the game for your clients?
So the Paragon was started because I wanted to bridge that gap from hardware to software. I feel like the best engineers were those that had both disciplines. And in my history or earlier life, and even still a lot of companies to this day, they have a hardware department over here that does electronics, and they got the software guys over here, and they don't ever talk to each other. So the electronics gets designed and built, and then the software guys come in and start programming, and they're scratching their head because, if you'd have connected things up different to the processor, I could have done it differently and better and more efficient, and or picked a different processor or different chips or something. So it needed to be a teamwork. And I learned that early on while I was going through college and I was doing contract work. I sat in front of really smart electrical people, really smart software people, and they couldn't communicate. And I could sit down in the lab, connect up an oscilloscope, connect up a logic analyzer, write a piece of code, test something, and go, "There's where the problem is." And that was things they couldn't do. And they were smarter in their particular disciplines than me, but they didn't have that combined thing. So Paragon was going to be based on what I call bilingual engineers, those who do hardware and software.
Bilingual,
then,
I love it.
Yeah.
And then hardware.
The second thing was process is very important. I believe that engineering should follow a process much like manufacturing does. Everybody gets manufacturing. Parts go down the line, they get, there's quality checks, and everything's done in a certain order. Well, engineering, to this day, all of our customers, I go around, I realize that there's a lot of companies that still, one group does it different than another. It's kind of happenstance, ad hoc. It's really weird how products get done on the design side. So I wanted to straighten that out. And then lastly was documentation. As much as I don't like to write and do like every other engineer, I know that documentation is very important. And when you hand over the plans for, the product, they can go build it. Think about a house. If I go build a home and I build you a model home and then say, "All right, go build some more," you're kind of stuck. But if I give you all the architectural plans to build that home, you can now go make a subdivision of those homes. And it seems natural, but engineers don't like to write documentation. And so we made a point to make that a big deal. So when we deliver our customers prototypes, they get a documentation package, which we refer to it as engineer in a notebook. Which is really just taking engineers' heads off and sticking them in a binder.
Okay. Well, I know that's not true. I've seen your library, and it's very clean, but it's very impressive. All the docs you got. Yeah, that's awesome. Engineers in a notebook, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. That's a shortcoming for a lot of engineers and engineering companies and whatnot. So I think that's a very big differentiator for you guys.
Now, the type of people that we hire, we like to hire some engineers that are extroverted, and that's kind of hard to find too. So the way you can tell the difference between an introverted and extroverted engineer is that an introverted engineer looks at his own feet when he's talking, and an extroverted engineer looks at the other guy's feet when he's talking. And we try to get him a little higher up on the scale.
That's good. Well, it's nice to have a good combination of people, some of those skill sets. That's awesome. So I understand that core values is real important to Paragon Innovations and to you. And I understand that integrity is the top of the list. What are those core values for Paragon?
Yeah, so integrity is very important to us. It's also the first core value for Texas A&M University and the Air Force. And for us, it's about having high integrity with our customers, with our employees, and with our vendors. We all need to work together in an honest, transparent form. And if you don't do that, you're not going to have any repeat business, and you're not going to be that successful. And I think if you're going to be in business 34 years that we have so far, you have to have that. Courage and respect and accountability follow behind that, and they go in the same way. Sometimes you don't want to tell a customer the bad news, like we're going to be late or something's over budget or something, and you got to have the courage to do that. Accountability is about being accountable to the customer and to yourself and to your employees, whether it be not only financially, but goals, deadlines, etc. All that's accountable. And then respect, got to respect everybody. You can't be mean to yourself, your employees, your customers, your suppliers. You got to work in a team environment. And so all those things go together, are very important. And then our fifth core value is community education. And that's about giving back. And so servant leadership to the world. So we bring in everything from grade school kids to college interns, and various different programs that we support. And we go out right now, like right now today, this very minute, I'm talking, one of our mechanical engineers, an A&M grad, is talking to second graders at a school and showing them all kinds of examples of 3D printed things and real products that we've developed. So, I mean, that's something we do on a regular basis, and we encourage all of our employees to do that and give back. We especially give back to A&M and a number of STEM programs and endowed things that we've done down there as well. And lastly, with the education, it's not just students, it's young budding entrepreneurs. So, I get criticized sometimes by some people that I let people come in our office and pitch some idea that we know is never going to make it. And it's like, yeah, I know that, but I want to give them some time to understand how to pivot and what they need to think about when they come up with their next great idea. And so that's our education to the regular common people in the world.
Wow. And that's part of the servant leadership that you do. Are you involved in an angel program?
I am. Well, so for the investing side, I'm in a Aggie Angel Network, which is one of a number of angel networks in the state under the name ATAN, Association of Texas Angel Networks. I've been an investor there for many years. I'm on the board of directors right now. And we too are a little bit different than the other angel networks in that and we just had our meeting this morning. So there's another one. And when we're done with our listening to the pitches, we don't send the companies their way and we'll let them know by phone whether we like them or not. We make sure that we spend time with them. This was a virtual one today. But we go into a breakout room and we talk to them about their idea and talk to them about what we think they need to do to either come back or we like it and want to go ahead and invest. But it's an educational process, not just a, vote you off the island or not.
Awesome. It's so good that you have all these values that you have and you're implementing them and showing up in the world with them and helping other people. I know we've known each other for over 25 years, going back to Metroplex Technology Business Council, the Software Roundtable.
That's right.
That many
Fridays.
Yeah. And then all the different other groups that Tech Titans, formerly the MTBC, used to do. So you've been a big impact on this community and a great leader. So I want to thank you for all those times that you've done.
Thank you.
Hey, I've been out to your place before and I've seen the Wall of Fame. What is that? And has that been useful to you to help close business?
Absolutely. We had three things before we were acquired that were great to get new business, and now we have a fourth. So the first three, one was Wall of Fame. If I can get a customer into our conference room or during the COVID days, just put it on the backdrop. I should have done that today. And you can see just circuit board after circuit board after circuit board all over the wall there. And that's just some of the ones. We'd fill the walls all over the building if we put them everywhere. But those are examples of products we've done for customers. And you go in there and you look at that and you go, wow, look at the names of the companies they've done work for and the types of products, complexities. And you can really get a feel that this is the right shop to be with, their experience. Second thing is to go along with that is when I tell someone we've been in business 34 years, 20 years, 25, whatever the number has been in the last many years. It's not suddenly, bam, they're not a fly-by-night. They're not three guys in a garage that got let go from ABC company last week. They are serious. They do this all the time. So we like that. And then third was our customer logos. So we've got a mashup of logos on our webpage and elsewhere on literature. And when you look at that, you go, wow, if these companies do work with them, they must be good. And then finally, now the fourth, since we've been acquired, is we're backed by TTI, a Berkshire company. So, it's not, we're not going out of business tomorrow. We're not going to have a layoff. We're not going to do all that stuff. We're here to stay for eternity, probably. So that's that. So that's given us a definite edge on work. Along with that, sometimes we're more expensive than the bidder over there, double the price. And we'll tell the customer, no, we're not double. They're half of what it really costs, because we can't possibly charge double and stay in business. You can imagine, right? So we have to be close.
That's awesome. Very good. So I understand your success rate is very high. I heard 99%. Is that true?
Yeah. So of all the circuit boards we've designed, we've only had one board that was totally unusable on the first prototype. That was a do-over. We were, obviously disappointed with that. We paid to redo it all. Apologized deeply to the customer, and they ended up being a repeat customer. So that's good. So again, respecting our customer, having the courage to go after that, being accountable for our own mistake. I don't know how. I still to this day, I know how it happened, but I just can't believe it. Now that said, 7 of our circuit boards that we've designed over the years were perfect. What do I mean by perfect? That means the first prototype went to production, went through regulatory approval, no changes whatsoever. Absolutely perfect. Those are accidents too. They just had to be the good kind.
That's awesome though. What a track record. Over 34 years now, right?
Yeah, and it's all due to
Holy cow.
process. We spend a lot of time in the design phase and design reviews before we build that first board. Whereas some companies' philosophy, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's another philosophy, is, do it quick, fail, do it again, fail, and then move on. And while I respect that philosophy in like an entrepreneurial view of starting companies, when you're making a product, I think it should be more time spent on getting it right.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. So Paragon has a reputation for turning tech dreams into market realities. Can you give us an example of a project that seemed impossible, but you were able to turn it around and make a breakthrough with it?
So, there's been a number of those, and I kind of love challenges. So when we get the opportunity to do something that someone says you can't do, I kind of dig in. One such project was a video phone, and today here we are on a video conference, and it's no big deal. Everybody's got it. We got computers. It's great. But if you reach back into 2000, 2002, 3 time frame in there, nobody had high-speed internet at home. If you were lucky, you had DSL, 128 or 512 kilobits per second, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all you could do. And so you couldn't do video really, certainly not the kind of video we're doing today. And so, also there was no way to connect, even when you had computers and you could do the little bitty video picture, you had to be a tech genius to figure all that out. Well, this company wanted to make a video phone that you could connect grandma to grandchild. And how do you do that? Well, grandma doesn't understand anything other than a rotary dial phone and push buttons. And so we convinced grandma that we told her it was a phone number, but between you and me, it was an IP address. And that's what she would connect to. And the same with the grandchild and grandparents and mom in between. Anyway, they would buy these 2 devices and set them up, and they connect to your phone line, which a DSL phone line. And but the challenge was getting all that to work and getting the lip sync to work. So the audio to be synced with the video. And that was just virtually impossible. And we ended up doing that with a total of 3 processors in this box. And we synchronized the video and the audio, very challenging. And we overcame that and demonstrated that at the Consumer Electronics Show in, I think it was 2004 or 3, something like that. And we actually were talking about working to the wire. We actually went to the Hilton there by the convention center in Vegas, rented a suite, took out all the furniture, put it in the hallway, went to the store, got a bunch of folding tables, set up a lab, solder stations. We were making changes literally to the minute the show started, and then each night between. because it was that new a tech, but we had already promised to show it off, and some big name telecom guys wanted to show it in their booth. So
Wow. Well, that's a great story.
yeah.
Oh, awesome. Are there any other stories like that you want to share? We've got a few minutes.
I'm sure there's others. We've think of something here.
Don't mean to put you on the spot, this
Yeah.
is off the cuff, but
Yeah, let me think here a second. What's another good one? I'll tell one. It's not so much impossible, but just a neat story is, and gives a little history of how Paragon is. So when LED lighting became a big deal, so this is not even what you would call complex electronics. No microprocessor, no software, almost no silicon involved. But you would take like a discount tire sign, and it was made a neon inside. And you want to replace that with red LEDs or the McDonald's sign or whatever. And so these channel letter signing. So a friend of mine down in Houston wanted to move away from the neon type lighting and go to this new LED stuff. And he approached me and says, Mike, can you do that? And I said, well, I don't think you understand that, Ron, they don't make LEDs that bright. And I had no idea. And then did some more digging, and he's right there. These new companies, Luminleds and Osram and stuff that had these really cool, super bright LEDs. And so we learned about that, and we ended up building product for them. And we were competing with other companies like GE in this market. And we did extraordinarily well because the customer did a very good job explaining to us what it's like to be in the lighting. We went out and looked at channel letters. We went on top of a building and saw how they dirty inside and how you replace them and how we're going to go replace this stuff. And what we learned was, we learned about how the user that's going to put this in, electrician. The electrician doesn't know about plus and minus 5-volt or 12-volt wiring and all that computer stuff. All he knows about is it got a black and white wire, connect to a transformer. The other side goes to the neon, whichever end goes, doesn't matter, it works.
right.
So if you go in there and plug the plus and minus backwards on a LED light, as a DC, it's going to burn up. And so you're going to expect them to plug it in half the time wrong because they've never been thinking about that. So our product took care of that. Our product took care of how you adhese it to the board, to the channel letter. The lighting that we designed was to match neon exactly. So if you look at a sign like in Frisco, that AMC sign, that's 300 feet of neon in there, we just sold them 300 1-foot boards. Same thing. So they don't have to think and do some metric conversion to digital to LEDs. They're wider, narrower, deeper. Yeah, make it the same. And if you do that, you're really successful. And we end up being phenomenally successful. Our customer was phenomenally successful with the product line business today, gazillions of dollars a year in revenue. I can't disclose, but he's doing very well and growing that company and doing LED lighting. And then now indoor, so our LED lighting here in the office is his product as well. So yeah.
What an awesome story. That is great. That's just
we
one
beat
of
GE
many
because
stories.
the important thing here is about GE. The reason why I beat GE and others, and no disrespect to GE engineers, but they were never let out of their cage. They're left in a cubicle, and they didn't get to see this stuff. And so they're told by somebody, marketing, I don't know who, here's what the product needs to do. And then the engineers go do it. And without regard to understanding the environment it's going to be in, the user that's going to install it. And so there were several things that were key that they fell short on, and we won contract after contract because our product met those needs in a better way.
That is awesome. Great. Hey, so TTI, the Berkshire company, when did they purchase Paragon?
August 27th at 2021. It's also the exact same day at 5 p.m. that my blood sugars eventually went to good levels instead of very high, and blood pressure has been maintained low since.
To wonder why that happens. Oh, that's very curious.
Entrepreneurship employee.
That's all. So what is your title now?
I'm general manager and vice president for the Paragon Innovations division.
Oh, okay. All right, great. So how has that relationship gone? And what is the future of Paragon now that TTI, Berkshire Hathaway, owns Paragon?
It's going really well. It's been 2.5 years since we were acquired. The purpose of acquisition for Paragon, because you got to wonder, why would a components manufacturer or distributor well, they're, $9.5 billion kind of company. Why would they want to buy this? I mean, they own Mauser, they own all these other companies. Well, the answer is it's demand creation. They wanted to get in early in the design cycle. And if we design it in, then that's what's going to be used in manufacturing. So you think about if we've taken a laptop computer today, if you design with a certain Intel processor, the AMD salesperson can't come in at the back end at the contract manufacturer and say, hey, I got a great AMD chip. It's better, cheaper, because the board's already designed with the Intel. And so we basically can design with our family of parts from all of our family companies, which is ginormous. So it's really easy to go into effectively our Home Depot store and buy what we want, or at Lowe's, whichever way you want to be. We're one or the other in this scenario, and we've got it all. So that works out really well. And then we have even closer relationships with our suppliers because we are that guy. So that's great. So there's 3 of us that have been required, 3 different design firms, and together we are becoming more and more one in how we operate. We share resources. I'm specifically responsible for the sales of everything within the family. So all of our sales people worldwide, as they go out and sell parts and they need design services, they funnel those through me, and then I distribute them out to one of the 3 of our development groups or some combination thereof.
Wow. Well, a great place, a great evolution for you to move to this place where you've got so much impact in the world and what products are created and solutions are solved.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. So, Mike, for our tech enthusiasts and for budding entrepreneurs that are listening, what advice do you have for them about navigating through their journey?
So being an entrepreneur is one of the greatest things in the world, I think. I'm biased, of course. And I think you should, and we've got lots of resources today that we never had when I started, from these incubators and startup activities and capital factories and just a bunch of that. And then just the universities themselves. I mean, we take entrepreneurs in on their freshman year and we just throw them to the wolves and guide them and teach them. And then we take the sophomores on top of that, and they come and help those freshmen from to give back from their freshman year when they were in this program. We got a ton of programs down there at A&M, and other schools do too. So I recommend anyone who's interested in entrepreneurship to, if they're still going to college, whatever, to get involved in their university's program with that. If you're outside of college, look for programs in the area. There's tons of stuff. Go to networking groups, like your networking group. I mean, the IoT. This is where you go meet other people with ideas and start letting those ideas flow. But before you quit your day job and everything else, make sure you've got a plan. Got a team. I believe in team. I believe more that you need more resources than one has in their own head. So get a group of people that could be, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people to get your idea solidified. And one thing I want entrepreneurs to remember is what you think the product should do is irrelevant. You don't have a clue. I guarantee you. You may think you do, but you don't. You need to find out what real customers, and that's not mom and dad and friends. They're going to tell you your baby's pretty. You need to go find people that think your baby's ugly so you can pivot early and get that exactly figured out. Because what I wanted a phone and what you wanted a phone probably are very different. And I need to make a phone that you want and your neighbor and your neighbor and your neighbor so I can sell more than one.
Wow.
So I recommend that.
That's awesome. Any other advice that you want to give? I mean, you've covered a lot of ground there, and that's awesome information and awesome insight.
Just you got to be fully committed to be an entrepreneur. I, as an investor, and I've both raised money and I've invested. I'm currently invested in 11 startups and 3 venture funds. And I look for companies that have a team together, well thought through, some experience, and then they're committed, meaning they've quit their full-time job. They're now committed. Or maybe they haven't quit their full-time job. They're going to, if the money commitment comes through, they quit and start. So they're hungry and they're ready to go. Vet your idea the most you can before you get started, and then go full in. This is not an 8 to 5 job. And lastly, it's a family event. So if you're married or a girlfriend or boyfriend, both, whatever you have, family, kids. You got to be committed, and they got to be committed, because you're going to miss some soccer games, you're going to miss some family time, to make this work, and everybody needs to be as a family committed to it.
Wow, great advice. Great advice. So we've covered a lot of ground, and we're about to wrap up here. Anything else that you would like to mention or talk about that I overlooked? After 34 years, you guys have covered a lot of ground and done a lot of things. It's been so fun to hear.
So STEM is really near and dear to my wife and I. Yes, we need more science, engineering, math type people in our country. We're falling behind in the world, in my opinion. And so there's plenty of STEM programs. My wife and I sponsor Aggie STEM down at A&M. My wife's been the chair for a while down there on that. We've also endowed an all-girls STEM camp down there and named it under her father, which is both of our parents were educators in Corpus Christi, and for a gazillion years. And but we strongly believe in getting involved in these STEM programs and learning. It kind of goes back to like Boy Scouts was to me. You get 30 merit badges, you've learned 30 different topics, and then you can have a better feeling what you want, because the last thing you want to do is go to college, graduate, find out that the program you're in, that wasn't what you want to do for a living, and you're not happy going to work on Monday. We've just wasted a bunch of money and time that if you had had some exposure to some other things, you might find you like that better. And so I highly recommend STEM programs wherever.
Awesome. Mike, this has been awesome. It's been a great pleasure having you with us today. Your insights and stories are a beacon for all of us, and we're all better for it. I want to thank you also for taking time to share your journey and your wisdom with us. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember, you can find this replay and catch up on previous interviews and other IoT events that we've had on the YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and do a search for IoT and Beyond, IoT and Beyond, 3 words, then you'll find the replay for this and other events as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell as well, so you'll never miss an episode as it comes out in the future. So until next time, keep pushing boundaries and exploring beyond. Thanks, Mike.
All right, gig 'em.